Good afternoon again. We are now back into open session. I'd like to announce that the open hearings on the university's tuition fees and housing and dining charges for 2024-2025 will be held on Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The hearing will now be entirely on Zoom. The open hearing website went live on March 12th, 2024. On the website, students and members of the university community can register to speak at the hearing or submit comments to the board. Comments will be compiled and sent to the board members to review prior to the open hearing. Open hearing email blasts were sent to all Rutgers students, encouraging them to participate, and it was featured on university websites, university social media, and in Rutgers Today, and posted on the Student Center video boards. Students and members of the university community are encouraged to attend. At this point, I would like to turn the mic over to President Holloway for remarks. President Holloway.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last few weeks of the semester are in many ways a rolling celebration of the excellence that abounds at Rutgers all year long. For example, we hear about student achievements, such as our first Truman Scholar for Rutgers Camden, 4 students from Rutgers named as Goldwater Scholars, our first Fulbright Award winners of the spring, and our dance marathon students raising more than $500,000 for the Embrace Kids Foundation. Last weekend, we honored dedicated alumni volunteers at the Loyal Sons and Daughters Dinner, among them longtime board members Mary DiMartino, Talak Lal, and Sandy Stewart. This is also the month we induct the newest members of the Hall of Distinguished Alumni. And just a few days ago, I had the pleasure of informing a group of more than 30 brilliant faculty members that they have earned our year-end excellence awards for their outstanding teaching, research, and service to the common good. And all of that is a prelude to our commencement and convocation ceremonies in May. Let me take this opportunity to give you an update on FAFSA issues that have slowed the admissions calendar at Rutgers and at many other universities. The admissions process has yielded large numbers of admitted students, yet the federal government's problems with the new FAFSA continue to delay our ability to issue financial aid packages to our incoming students. Our goal is to deliver accurate information to our admitted students so that they can make the best college decision they can. Rutgers has launched a net price calculator to assist students and their families while we await information from the Department of Education. We are hopeful that financial aid packages will be released for admitted students by early May. Finally, I want to offer an update on 2 deeply troubling incidents on the New Brunswick campus. The first, an apparent targeting of a Jewish student whose image was put on flyers around a dormitory. The second, the break-in and vandalism at the Center for Islamic Life at Rutgers, New Brunswick. Hate has no place at Rutgers. To that end, we follow up on every bias report or allegation of crime as we receive them, either directly or through appropriate law enforcement agencies. With regard to the 2 incidents I mentioned here, the RUPD is working with local, county, state, and federal law enforcement on investigations. We are grateful to the agencies that are helping us in this work. We're also cautiously optimistic that these investigations will come to a proper and just conclusion. It is always my expectation that our teams are diligent about policy enforcement, always prioritizing student safety and our educational mission. That concludes my public comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, President Holloway. And it's always a pleasure to be in Camden and have our board meeting here, Chancellor. So may I call on you for your report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members of the Board of Governors, as well as faculty, students, staff, and community members. It's always our pleasure to welcome you to the South, to Rutgers Camden. And thank you for indulging me to just give you a little bit overview about some of the things that have been happening on our campus. Let's see if I can advance this from here. I'd like to start with giving an update on enrollment. When we look at the slide to look at our spring 2024 new student enrollment, The slide shows that we are seeing a year-to-date increase of 9.6% of new students, with increases in both our graduate and transfer students and a slight decrease in FTIC. Overall, we're looking forward to welcoming a bright class of new students in the spring. Moving to total enrollment for spring of 2024, the latest data show a continued downward trend in undergraduate enrollment, as has been the case at our institutions across the broader higher education spectrum since COVID. However, a surge of interest and activity in our graduate and business programs has led to an increase in our overall enrollment, helping to close some of the gap. Our admissions, enrollment, and recruitment marketing teams remain diligent in their effort to address enrollment here at Rutgers Camden. Let's see. An important change to note with the fall 2024 application is that Rutgers Camden, in step with Rutgers writ large, is now participating in the common application process. This explains in part the increase of more than 300% in undergraduate applications for this year that you see on the screen. Since the common application has made it easier for prospective students to apply to Rutgers Camden, our enrollment management team is keeping track of the trends and how they will affect our bottom line numbers. We are confident that the Common App will have a positive effect on overall enrollment, making our university accessible to those who would not have taken part in our application process were it not for the Common App. Moving on to the broader financial picture of Rutgers Camden, as you see on the slide, our revenue remains steady thanks to the increasing enrollment, specifically in graduate education. Our New Jersey state appropriations are steadily decreasing, which illustrates the need for us to focus on student engagement, international recruitment, and other alternative sources of income. The focal point of this slide is to highlight our revenue sources with a noteworthy combined 71% stemming from our student population and sponsored awards, while federal and state aid continues to remain combined 29%. This breakdown underscores the strength of our academic and research endeavors, as well as the pivotal role they play in sustaining our financial health at Rutgers Camden. The next slide basically gives an overview of our strategic plan. Many of you know that November of 2023, we launched the strategic plan for the next 5 years of Rutgers Camden, focusing on a century and beyond of excellence, commitment, and elevation, 2023 to 2028. The strategic pillars that frame the plan benefit all aspects of academic and student life, and they will continue to do so over the next 5 years. And very briefly, just to reiterate, these are the 5 strategic pillars that frame, and I gave a more in-depth discussion about these 5 pillars when the plan was introduced last year. Relative to our strategic plan already in practice, here are just a few ways that the plan has been put into practice on our campus. The Memphis Pipeline Project program continues to flourish and expand as new undergraduates prepare to make their way from my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee, to here, Rutgers Camden. Part of nurturing our beloved community here in Rutgers Camden means making sure our campus is immaculate and accessible as we begin phase 1 of our 10-year master plan for the maintenance and improvement of our facilities and grounds. Finally, the new acquired Give Pulse software will enable us to better work with our community partners while opening more access to student internships. Be sure to consult the strategic plan website, which we have that we update with more information on how we are putting our strategic plan into action. Just to talk a little bit more about the Chancellor's 15 and 5, an initiative that I launched when I first came, I want to just highlight Joseph Abbas enrolled in the MA and PhD program in prevention science, that his work and his scholarship is definitely elevating what we do. Joseph is the latest recipient of the Chancellor's Grant for Independent Student Research, and he is using his award funds to develop an app that contributes to student wellness at Rutgers Camden. As we move forward to talk about Rutgers Camden relative to 100 years, we have begun the planning for our centennial celebration that will encompass all of the iterations that we have been since 2026. Margaret Marsh and Jim Rhodes they are chairing this committee. They have also begun the process of constituting the steering committee for the centennial celebration and have also identified subcommittees that will also be a part of this. So we're very excited to begin the planning of 100 years of Rutgers excellence here in South Jersey. Internationalism may be the fifth and final pillar, but its impact on our campus culture and our efforts to forge partnerships abroad cannot be overstated. In the past few months alone, Rutgers Camden leaders have had the opportunity to travel to Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Brazil, to name a few, in concert with Rutgers Global. The recent 27th journey to South Africa over spring break was another year in which our students and alumni had transformative experiences engaging South Africa's rich culture and history. Additionally, a part of our international mission is to bring the world to Rutgers Camden. In February, 12 students from our partner university in Paraguay, Universidad Nacional de Asunción, traveled to Camden, where they experienced our campus life, connected with fellow students and faculty on emerging research opportunities, and yes, they even witnessed, for many of them, which was the first snowfall ever that happened here in South Jersey. In addition, the School of Business hosted International Professor of Practice Suzanne Ackerman, the former chair of Pick n Pay, one of South Africa's leading retailers, and an instrumental force in the opposition to an ultimate end of South African apartheid. Moving on to internationalism as well, our own Professor Patterson, Board of Governors Professor of Rutgers Law, visited Austria's University in Graz in December in order to continue this 30-year partnership that we've had with this institution. Moving to sponsored research. As a research university, Rutgers Camden thrives on the cutting-edge scholarship of faculty and students. Vice Chancellor for Research Tom Risch is approaching his first full year at the helm of our research enterprise, and I'm proud to share a few highlights of what our university has achieved in recent months. As you can see from the slide, our total award received to date for FY24 is $22.6 million, our highest in the last 5 years. In terms of significant awards, as many of you are aware, Professor of Biology Huang Li received the $2.5 million from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute for the Driving Change Initiative, which helps students from underrepresented backgrounds gain entry and thrive in STEM fields. In our Department of English and Communication, Associate Professor Keith Green received grant funding from Rutgers University Academic Affairs Council for a project entitled Saved to Enslave, a project that traces the history of Black and Indigenous congregants in the Pilgrim's First Church. Biology Professor Jing-Yun Chi earned $2 million from the National Institute of General Medical Sciences to study the osmotic relations of peptide signaling in plants. In common language, that means learning how plants breathe. As you all saw, as you entered, we are in the midst of Research Week at Rutgers University in Camden. And I'd like to really thank Vice Chancellor Risch and our faculty, staff, and students throughout the university who have come out to show and to showcase their research. Our focus is to really show that research not only happens in the hard sciences, it also happens for humanists as well as we know for social scientific scholars as well. So we're excited to have Research Week this entire week. And if you get a chance, make sure you get a program to see the types of things that are going on here for Research Week. Moving on to, let's see, institutional advancement. I am thrilled to share that we are continually moving the needle relative to engaging our alumni, engaging individual donors, engaging institutes in order to help us with what we do here. To date, this information is actually incorrect. It says that to date, we have raised roughly 9.2 million. The actual number exceeds 10 million to date. So we really want to thank our new Chuck. I don't see Chuck here, but Chuck and his team have done a wonderful job engaging businesses, engaging individual donors, as well as engaging our alumni. So we are well above our goal, which was $4.5 million for this year. Relative to institutional advancement highlights, on the screen, you'll just see just a couple that configure into that 10 million that we've gotten so far. I've told Chuck that what he may want to do is just to save the next ones for the next fiscal year, such that we can continue to show this type of increase relative to the work that they're doing. And thankful to Kimberly, Hopley, and the foundation for the support that they have given Chuck and his team in order to reach these types of milestones. Sorry. Okay, thank you for that. All right, moving to alumni engagement, just talking about some of the things that we have done in order to increase our interaction with our alumni. Our alumni who have gone to South Africa over the past 26 years, they came back and to really relive some of their experiences, and also to talk with Suzanne Ackerman that they met, who happened to be on campus, and also to give inspiration to the next cohort of students and faculty, as well as alumni who were going to South Africa for that 27th visit. Very quickly, there's some great things that are happening in all of our schools here, so I will be very brief in mentioning relative to the College of Arts and Sciences, that we're very excited to establish the Institute for Empowering Equitable Education in STEM. And I want to comment that Dean Griffin, as well as faculty, are working very diligently. And this is a result of the Howard Hughes Medical Grant that was received. School of Business as well has remained a force of innovation and entrepreneurship. I am excited to highlight the recent formation of the Business Honors Program, which would welcome its first cohort of students this coming fall. Moving to Camden School of Nursing, it is the golden year for the Rutgers School of Nursing Camden. Our passionate nursing faculty, staff, and students, as we said, are in the midst of celebrating 50 years. It has been an incredible undertaking, and I am so pleased to see the well-deserved recognition the school has earned as a result. While the history of the School of Nursing is far, far longer than my tenure here, the anniversary has given me the opportunity to look back at the totality of that history and how what started as a small group of just a few students has grown into a force for public health and public good within our region. So congrats to Dean Nikitas and all of our colleagues in the School of Nursing. The law school, Rutgers Law in Camden, is home to the premier legal studies mind in the region. Recently, our law school has made national headlines for its work with the New Jersey Innocence Project, through which it has secured multiple exonerations for those serving lengthy prison sentences after being wrongly convicted of crimes. Faculty members recently had influence over changes to the expungement process for wrongfully convicted in our state. Dean Joanna Bond is doing a great job in her new role as leading both Rutgers Law in Camden as well as in Newark. I'm going to briefly talk about just a few faculty achievements that have happened with our Professor Lauren Grodstein and her novel being had a shout out by Jenna on the Today Show. Kimberly Moran received the Rutgers Global Grant to study ancient fingerprints in collaboration in Greece. Looking at the most recent Professor Benedetto, who received the 2024 W.T. and Idler Reed Prize for the Society of Industrial and Applied Mathematics. So just some wonderful things that are happening relative to our faculty. I'm very pleased to introduce and to state that Rutgers Camden, you heard our president mention it, that we have our first Truman Scholar with Paul Boyd. Paul Boyd is just an exceptional student, and Paul Boyd, and he basically is the poster child for our commitment to say that we serve the 21st century student. Paul is a 46-year-old undergraduate student here at Rutgers Camden who is also a product of the NJ STEP program. He's doing extremely well, father of three, and I could go on and on and on about the importance of this young man on our campus and what he means relative to serving as an example that our system works. For those who truly want rehabilitation can have it, and they can have it at Rutgers University in Camden and Rutgers University writ large. Focusing a little bit on our students, Sophia Mora completed the NASA internship as a part of the New Jersey Space Grant Consortium. And also Roz Blocker reached her 1,000 points relative to the women's basketball team. And Cameron Downs, the men's basketball NJAC second all-around team. A few new things that's happening relative to US News and World Report. Happy to report that our nursing school has now entered the top 100 in the country at number 86 for the best undergraduate nursing school in the country. Our Doctor of Nurses practice is almost in the top 50, where it is now at number 54, number 76 for Public Graduate Affairs program, and adding to the list of Rutgers Camden being among the top institutions in the country. Also, we continue to be a leader among universities in our nation as it relates to diversity, equity, and community engaged scholarship. This year, we were the recipient of the Gorosky Award, which is one award, one university across the nation, given by Campus Compact, who continues to show a commitment towards community engaged scholarship and also civic scholarship. That briefly concludes my report, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the indulgence, and members of my team are here as well as myself, if there are any questions that you have. Thank you.
And thank you, Chancellor Tillis, for that inspiring and informative presentation. A lot is happening here in Camden, needless to say. At this time, the public comment. Members of the public have signed up to speak on specific agenda items and will be called upon to provide remarks. Each speaker will be allotted 2 minutes for comment and must speak to the agenda they have signed up for. I would ask Secretary Osper if she would call each speaker, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to call Luke Spaltro to provide comments.
And while we're waiting on the first speaker, I'm going to ask Secretary Osper to call on the second speakers to shorten our delay.
Mr. Chair, the next speaker will be Oliver Rivera.
Mark, they're live. They should be in the room. Then this wouldn't be happening.
Who's not? There are speakers who are also in the room, so we're going to start with the speakers who are in the room. And hopefully we can close the loop on those who had signed up who are not inside of the room. You ready?
Lou Batucci. It's nice to see everyone's faces. My name is Lou Biltucci. I'm a graduate student in the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Department. I've taught for this university multiple times, multiple winter sessions. I'm an educator at heart, and I don't come to you today as just one student or one worker for your university. I come here today to speak with my colleagues and to speak with my comrades in Camden. I'm commenting on agenda item 15D. This proposed project, to my understanding from my colleagues in Camden, is that this is going to be yet another Band-Aid on crumbling infrastructure within this university that badly needs deep, sustained remediation and deep rethinking of budget allocations. Now, I'm not under the illusion that anything that I say here will be of much substance to you all. And as I said, I'm not here just as myself. I'm here as a student body. This project proposes to, and Chancellor, I read your very well-written proposal. This project proposes to build community for faculty, staff, and students. But I would love to know, as a question for some of y'all, to think about when you hear myself and my comrades outside this room asking for you to look at us. I would ask you if you think that the community is really possible in the current state of things. We don't need another shiny building. We need investments in our students. We do not need investments in the state of Israel. We need to divest. I'm sure that the divestment vote was discussed in your closed sessions. And we took note that that was not part of the open session agenda. Now, for me, this all comes back to this proposed gateway project, where you can say that you're investing in Rutgers Camden, when I know as a student in Rutgers New Brunswick that this campus is critically underfunded. This campus is experiencing massive infrastructural failures. These professors here do not get equal pay for equal work. I was here a year and a half ago as a union member speaking to you, and now I am here again, as I told you, as a member of the student body, to let you know that we will continue to show up. We will continue to be here. We will continue to make our voices heard. And we are asking you for very specific and very humane and just demands. I came here today with a group of students, mostly undergrads, who are sacrificing their time, their energy, their money, their progress through their degree at this university to come here and try again and again, President Holloway, the board, to let you know that we students do not want the investments in the state of Israel. We do not want the flashy investments in new buildings. We need a university that changes something. I believe in my time here that I will see this university divest from the state of Israel. I believe that. And I have a couple more years than some of our undergrads, so I hope to be around to see it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Vaishnavi V.
President Holloway and esteemed board members, you refuse to look at the community members. You refuse to look at the beloved community that has camped outside your door, camped outside this building, that have asked for you to look at them in their eye. Now, you have to look at me and the other speakers here today in the eye as we break it down for you. The agenda point 15D5 that is opening up the consideration of the Cooper Street Gateway project is unnecessary and useless while Camden and Newark students continue to remain neglected. These Board of Governor members like to celebrate the fact that they will come to Camden every so often for these meetings, every so often to talk about how greatly they believe in the investment of their beloved community across Camden and Newark, while we, as New Brunswick students, know that that is not the case. If we as students want to complain about the dorm conditions in the flagship campus of this university, we know that other campuses have to deal with much, much worse. Meanwhile, on Wednesday of last week, the Center for Islamic Life at Rutgers University got attacked. It was a hate crime, and this president in front of me refuses to consider it even a hate crime. This president in front of me wants to consider it as this thing where there is no hate that is allowed. However, it is not this game of being impartial. President Holloway and these board members absolutely remain partial to the Zionist cause, just are absolutely partial to remaining interested in securing their investment, remain interested in securing projects that contribute to the gentrification and the decrepitness that causes students across campuses to suffer. There is no pretense here. This building is not going to bring anything. It's not going to help any of the students here. Newark and Camden students still deal with terrible living conditions, unsafe water. The water is brown, and you want to stand here and sit here and talk about how great it is that we're investing in our community? Have you no shame? Do you not realize the irony here? Meanwhile, millions are poured into companies such as Motorola, Amazon, and other companies, while our community continues to suffer, while millions of Palestinians are at the risk of starvation and thousands have already died. I don't want my tuition money to be invested in stuff like this, and neither do any of the students that are kept outside, asking you for the bare minimum. This is unfair. Within our lifetimes, we will see Zionism fall, and we will see a free Palestine.
Thank you.
Hilde Krieger.
Hi, I'm Hilda. I'm here today because I did not have a voice in divestment as a master's student. I did not get to vote on any campus. The proposal for this Gateway project promises This building will elevate the sense of community for faculty, students, and staff within that college. And such a space is essential. It's essential that faculty have a space so they can discuss the fact that they are paid disproportionately less than their colleagues at New Brunswick and other campuses. And with students, they could speak. They could connect with that faculty over the fact that their speech has been suppressed on all Rutgers campuses, and their ability to organize has been suppressed through the suspension of student organizations. And lastly, they could connect with the staff, who are also underpaid and exploited. Community is not created by buildings. It is created by students and teachers and workers, who are the lifeblood of this community. When this building opens, what community will fill it? Will it be filled with the community of this room? Or will it be filled with the community of Rutgers people outside speaking, raising their voices?
Thank you.
John Bernstein.
We are here as members of the student body of the supposed beloved community, calling you to divest from Israeli apartheid and genocide. The university would still exist if you, the Board of Governors, did not exist. However, you would not exist if we were not here as students. On the recent Russo referendum, 71% of Newark students voted yes on Resolution 1 and 64% voted yes on Resolution 2. Despite Holloway being concerned about speaking out while voting was ongoing so as to not tip the scales, he sent an email promoting, quote, engagement, not isolation, as Camden's campus voted on divestiture. This act was just one of many that displayed this administration's neglect of Camden. 70% of Camden's students voted yes on their single resolution. After days of stalling, the release of the New Brunswick results, students voted 80% yes on Resolution 1 and 77% on Resolution 2. We're here despite you continuously silencing us. Your silence is violence, and the recent attacks against the Center for Islamic Life at Rutgers University have exemplified this silencing. Silru has served as a safe space for the Palestinian and Muslim communities. However, in spite of the Silru being private property, this administration cleaned pro-Palestinian chalkings off of its sidewalk. On the beginning of Eid, a bigoted vandal in what was a hate crime broke into Silru, vandalized a Quran, and stole a Palestinian flag. 7 months into the siege of Gaza, where over 30,000 have been slaughtered by the IDF, with thousands more missing under the rubble, and a hate crime later, Chancellor Conway sent an email that was the first university email that even mentioned Palestine. When students wished to strike as a form of protest against violence like this administration had the audacity to use racist tropes of Palestinian, Muslim, and Arab students being violent, terroristic, etc., and threatened SJP's expulsion. By not only continuing to silence Palestinian voices, but promoting quote-unquote engagement with Israel, a policy that is parallel to the failure of the Reagan administration's constructive engagement with the South African white regime, and normalizing relationships with TAU, you have all created an environment in which the violence against Palestinian and Muslim students abroad has reproduced itself on campus. By investing in Israel, which has bombed countless of UN schools and universities in Gaza, you have reproduced the same neglect to our libraries. Here, I am a history student, yet after Hurricane Ida, coupled by drastic underfunding, I am only able to attend the archives 10 hours a week and have to make appointments weeks in advance to do so. You will listen to the students who understand that there is no engagement with a rogue settler colonial state that has occupied the Palestinian people for 75 plus years and has killed hundreds of thousands for land. You will divest immediately and reinvest in the student body and the communities that this college is a part of, or we will continue protesting to force you to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Constance O'Connor.
Can you guys hear me? Yep. If you were honest about wanting to build community, you'd be focusing on divestment, but you're not because you're full of fucking shit. If you cared about student safety, you would have denounced Israel's genocide of Palestinians. The Center for Islamic Life, Rutgers University, the Silru, that attack, that hate crime, never would have happened if you hadn't emboldened Zionists by not speaking out against genocide and calling it for what it is. You embolden genocide, you embolden racists, you embolden Zionists, and you endanger students. You don't get to play uninvolved and dumb and useless and shocked when acts of hate happens at Rutgers, and then also hold all this power. If you can't do your job, step the fuck down. Board of Governors, you shouldn't be governing shit. The Board of Trustees shouldn't be entrusted with shit. The president shouldn't be presiding over shit. You shouldn't be in charge of anything. You don't deserve to hold the power that you do because you're abusing it. The position that you hold shouldn't even exist. You shouldn't be controlling the endowment. We should be. You motherfuckers in suits, you're all psychopaths, and you're actively manufacturing a shitty fucking world for us all. You laughing? You think it's funny? I don't know how you live with yourself, honestly. I see you. You hold dignity for yourself and no one else. Do you feel that? Do you? Fuck your norms. Fuck your notions of decorum with your glasses of water, all sitting around the room. You didn't even hold space for us to come in. There's dignity for yourself and no one else. No dignity for Palestinians. No dignity for the students who are ignored and endangered. No dignity for faculty when you threaten them with firing if they speak out against the obvious. There's no dignity for the homeless of New Brunswick, Newark, and Camden that Rutgers gentrifies. Rutgers is the biggest landlord in all these cities and raises the housing prices of these cities. And then all the other landlords raise their prices. And then the locals end up homeless and displaced. And then the Board of Governors sits in this room with your suits and your glasses of water and your dignity. Dignity for no one else. Rutgers actively displaces both the people of Palestine through our endowment and the people of New Brunswick, Newark, and Camden. And you want to talk about building community? You're full of fucking shit. Fuck your notions of respectability. You're not respectable people. I have no respect for you. Fuck your social norms. Your ideas of what is normal is what got us into this mess in the first fucking place, where we're invested in genocide. You think it's normal and acceptable to be funding and profiting off of genocide. This problem was brought to y'all years ago by the Endowment Justice Collective, and it was shot down. And now here we are, and it's so much worse. More are dead because you ignored it before, and you're still not acting. Every day that goes by, Israel murders more Palestinians in the most undignified of ways that I can't even describe how they're doing it because I'm going to throw the fuck up. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, or if you're actually tapped in, or if you're watching mainstream media. I don't understand what's going on through your guys' heads. Genuinely, I don't get it. You shouldn't be able to decide for the rest of us what is normal. You made us do all this work of drafting a 56-page fucking document, formally arguing that investing in human rights violations goes against university mission and policy. Why the fuck did we even have to do that? Why did we have to formally argue? Why are there no ethical standards for investment in the first place? There's only standards for divestment. You structured this so that we would have to argue with you and fight with you tooth and nail to get shit divested when we shouldn't even be invested in the first fucking place. And there's only a vague standard for investment, is that the investment has to follow Rutgers' mission. So I'm going to ask you about Rutgers' mission. Is it in line with Rutgers' mission to intentionally target civilian infrastructure, to force people to eat grass, to use tents as sanitary pads, to have C-sections with no anesthesia and no antiseptic? And then we're collaborating with Tel Aviv University for a Helix Hub in the name of progress and innovation and medicine. How do you not see the hypocrisy in that? Are you actually hearing me, Holloway?
Can you respond if you're hearing me? Yeah? Okay. Why do we have to convince you that this shit is unacceptable? We do all this work, all these people coming together outside, and you're ignoring. This should be a task that you drop everything for. You shouldn't be focusing on anything else. All three campuses in New Brunswick, Newark, and Camden voted overwhelmingly to divest. You have a moral obligation both to us, the students, and to Palestinians whose blood is on all of your hands. Divest now.
Cal Fodor.
Who's the next?
Abigail Reardon. No respect for sanctity of human life. Drew Christensen.
Every single one of you will say that you are on the right side of history when we can see that you are not.
Mr. Chair, those are all the speakers that signed up to speak.
Thank you, Secretary Prosper. And I thank all the speakers who came forth and gave their remarks. At this time, we're going to committee reports. I'd like to call on Jose Piazza for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Committee on Academic and Student Affairs met on March 21st, 2024, in person and via Zoom. The committee received an update on strategic initiatives for Rutgers University, Newark, and Rutgers University, New Brunswick. First, Dr. Nancy Cantor, Chancellor of Rutgers University, Newark, discussed the campus's focus on student success by reviewing initiatives that support students and which increase awareness of opportunities at Rutgers, Newark. Chancellor Cantor also shared student success stories and updated the committee on the campus's excellent performance in Washington Monthly's rankings. Next, Dr. Francine Conway, Chancellor of Rutgers University, New Brunswick, discussed the academic master plan and efforts that encourage students to graduate on time and with minimum debt. Chancellor Conway also reviewed enrollment at Rutgers, New Brunswick, updated the committee on efforts to retain students, and reported on the successful accomplishments of the Student Affairs team in such areas as food and housing. Chancellor Conway also updated the committee on graduation rates, as well as efforts that have resulted in a more inclusive and welcoming environment for students. Chancellor Cantor then presented a proposed resolution establishing the Master of the Arts in Teaching in English as a Second Language and Bilingual Urban Education degree program at the Graduate School, Newark, as well as the proposed resolution establishing the Master of the Arts in Teaching in Urban Education degree program at the Graduate School, Newark. She explained that both programs are designed to create a cadre of urban educators who have an understanding of the lived experiences of the students they will be teaching. The committee agreed to endorse the resolutions for board approval, and they have been placed on the consent agenda. Chancellor Cantor then presented the proposed resolution establishing the Master of Science in Marketing Analytics and Insights degree program at the Rutgers Business School, Newark, and New Brunswick. She highlighted the program's importance due to data science and discussed the impact digital analytics has made on marketing and marketing research. The committee agreed to endorse the resolution for board approval, and it has been placed on the consent agenda. Next, Dr. Sandra Richtermeyer, Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs and Provost of Rutgers University, Camden, informed the committee that the Graduate School Camden's program title for the Masters of Science in Chemistry is being modified to the title of Master of Science in Chemistry and Molecular Technology, explain the reason for the change, and discuss advantages to the change. Dr. Prabhas Mogi, Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, then reported that the School of Management and Labor Relations will offer a standalone certificate in workers' rights. He explained that the certificate will provide coursework that educates students about the complexities of workers' rights for the purpose of defending and promoting fair and equitable interest. Dr. Murray continued by highlighting the dual degree program, 4+1 Biology Master of Science program, which offers a master's and PhD pathway to undergraduate students majoring in biology, biotechnology, microbiology, biochemistry, and other programs. Dr. Brian Strums, Chancellor of Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences and Executive Vice President of Health Affairs, explained that the Doctor of Philosophy in Health Sciences offered by the School of Health Professions is being modified to a Doctor of Health Science due to a need for an academic terminal degree that prepares community clinicians for teaching, scholarship, and clinical components of the field. Mr. J. Michael Gower, Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and University Treasurer, reviewed the FY24 budget and provided the committee with a detailed presentation on the university's plan for financial sustainability. The committee then met on executive session where Dr. Mogi explained the role of the committee and board in faculty personnel actions involving appointments and promotions to and within the tenure ranks. The committee then discussed personnel matters, which included tenure appointments recommendations and tenure promotions recommendations. The committee agreed to endorse these recommendations for board approval, and they have been placed on the consent agenda. The committee was then presented with 3 proposed resolutions. First, proposed resolution on the appointment to the Dr. and Mrs. Stanley S. Bergen, Junior Chair in Biomedical Ethics. Second, proposed resolution on the appointment to the George G. Rhodes Endowed Legacy Professorship at the Rutgers School of Public Health. And third, proposed resolution on the appointment to the Richard D. Hefner Professorship in Communications and Public Policy. The committee agreed to endorse all 3 resolutions for board approval, and they have been placed on the consent agenda. Now, on behalf of the Committee on Academic and Student Affairs, I have the pleasure to present for board approval the following candidates for award of honorary degrees to be named as commencement speakers in May 2024. I would first like to present Mr. Tariq Lukman Trotter, aka Black Thought, for the award of an honorary Doctorate of Fine Arts and to serve as commencement speaker at Rutgers University, Newark on May 15, 2024. Mr. Trotter is a founding member of The Roots, the Grammy-winning house band for The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and is renowned as one of the most talented and prolific rap musicians of all time. He is also a composer and an author and has appeared in numerous films and television shows. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
That's all in favor? Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Piazza.
I would like now to present the candidates for the award of honorary degrees and commencement speaker on May 12, 2024 for Rutgers University, New Brunswick and Rutgers Health. First, I would like to present Mr. William E. Best to receive an honorary Doctorate of Laws. Mr. Best is the outgoing chair of the Board of Governors, and as chair of the Board of Trustees, he established a task force that presented a detailed report on financial aid at Rutgers, which led to the establishment of the Endowment for Scarlet Promise Grants. Scarlet Promise Grants is now a signature initiative of the university and has allowed many students to continue their studies and pursue their dreams. I would also like to present Dr. Jelani Cobb to receive an honorary Doctorate of Letters. A distinguished Rutgers alumnus, Dr. Cobb is a staff writer for The New Yorker, where he reports on race and politics. His superb writing has appeared in numerous prestigious publications, and he has authored books and has shared his unique perspective on various television programs. As Dean of Columbia Journalism School, he has led numerous programs that assist journalists with student debt and allow them to do the important work of journalists as the field continues to change and evolve. Finally, I would like to present Dr. Freeman Rabowski III to receive an honorary Doctor of Letters and to serve as a commencement speaker for Rutgers University, New Brunswick and Rutgers Health on May 12, 2024. Dr. Rabowski served as a groundbreaking president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County for 3 decades and renowned on the field of higher education for his focus on supporting minority students who pursue STEM fields. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second. If there's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
This concludes the report of the Committee on Academic and Student Affairs, Mr. Chairman.
I think you said that was the end of your report, Mr.
Yes,
Mr.
yes, sir.
Pierce?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Vice Chair Engelson if he would read the resolution to move the remaining action to the consent agenda. Mr. Engelson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that everything else on the agenda be moved to the consent agenda, and I seek a second. Thank you.
All in favor? Any opposed? Mr. Taffet opposed. Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Okay. Are there any members who wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Hearing none, upon recommendation of the Committee on Academic and Student Affairs, the Committee on Financial Facilities, the Committee on Audit, and all of the other committees, I move that the board approve the items contained in the amended consent agenda. I seek a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Engelson. At this time, I'm going to, a point of order, I'm not going to ask for any old business or any new business at this point in time. We're going to hold the report from Dr. Simon, and I'm going to indicate that this meeting is now adjourned.